Hey everybody, welcome to episode 11 of Fitness and Money, Maximizing Your Health and Wealth. Glad you're able to join us. Last week we did lying dumbbell extensions. And again, I always, clarify that we want to make sure we maintain really good form because these are isolation exercises, and maintaining that form again is going to mitigate to the best possible the amount of injury that we could possibly incur, which we do not want to do. And you're not going to be working the correct muscle if you're doing the exercise incorrectly without the right form. Today, we're going to be doing tricep kickbacks. Now, this is a really funny one because, and I kind of alluded to this in the previous episode, when I was working out at the gym, I would always get really odd, funny, smirky looks when I did tricep kickbacks. I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure whether people in the gym thought it was a wimpy exercise or what, but the objective here is to define our tricep muscles, and they're called triceps for a reason. We spoke about that last time. You have three different distinct heads of your tricep, and we want to make sure that we get to work all three. There's certain exercises that do one better than the other, and the one I'm going to show you today works this obvious little tricep down below, which again is located right here. That's the one that these kickbacks are going to work. So without further ado, tricep kickbacks as always. I'm going to show you the wrong way to do them, and I'm going to show you the right way. So, and again, this is one, I always say this, everybody does this wrong. This is one that absolutely is done wrong, and maybe one of the more important ones that you do right. You are not going to use a lot of weight. You don't need to use a lot of weight. In fact, using a lot of weight and swinging the weight or hoisting the weight is going to probably put yourself in a risk category in terms of injury. So, all right, tricep kickbacks. We're going to start with a bench. You can use a chair, and I am going to do a separate video which is going to cover using a chair, using other pieces of equipment that you might have other than a bench. I understand that not everyone has a bench. You can get these type of benches super cheap. You can probably find one on a local garage sale and pick it up for 10 or 20 bucks. So that being said, all right, so we're going to start like this. If you're on a chair, if you're on a bench, you want to put one knee on the bench. And it's always going to be the opposite knee that you have the weight in. It's going to be that opposite knee. So we're going to start like this. We're going to bring the dumbbell right up here into like a cocked position. We don't want it like this. We don't want it like this. We kind of want it right here. Now, doing it incorrectly, people will swing the weight up and bring it down. They'll swing the weight up and bring it down. We absolutely do not want to move. This part of the arm needs to stay stationary. We don't want to move it. We're going to be doing all of the moving of this dumbbell from here down. The other thing, and this is this is just something that I have found myself, is that there's two different ways you can do this exercise. You can do it straight back like this, and this is what you'll see done 95% of the time. Straight back. The way I'm going to show you how to do it is I want you to put a little twist into the exercise. So we're going to start here, but we're going to, on our way up, we're going to twist the dumbbell so that instead of it being here at the top, it's going to be here at the top. I can already feel it. It puts the good stress on a totally different part of your tricep. And that's kind of what we want. So let's do it the way I do it, which again, I humbly believe is the correct way of doing it, that you'll be able to get the most out of this particular exercise. So we're going to cock the dumbbell just like this. And by the way, we don't want to be like this when we're doing the exercise. We don't want to be down like this. We kind of want to be somewhat parallel to the floor. It doesn't have to be exact, but somewhat parallel to the floor. Arm in the cocked position, right on your hip almost. As we bring the weight up, we're going to turn and come down. We're going to turn and come down. We're going to turn and come down. Now, what's hard to do with this one, although try to do it if you can, is you remember last episode we talked about not locking out our elbows. We try not to lock out our elbows. So we bring it here, again, right next to the hip, and we come up almost to the point. This will be locking the elbow out. We bring it to here, and we bring it down. We bring it to here, and we bring it down. We bring it to here, and we bring it down. And the reason that we do that is so that we can maintain good stress on the muscle. Every time that you, and I'm going to keep saying this over and over, any exercise, whether it's a bench press, anything that you do, dumbbell press, let's say you're doing shoulders, and we've already gone over this exercise, and we're doing a dumbbell press. You bring those weights up. If you lock out, you're taking all of the stress off of your shoulder muscles and you're locking out. In theory, as much as possible with exercises, you want to be able to come up, not lock your elbows, and come down, just as here, we want to be able to cock it, bring it up, and bring it down, bring it up, and bring it down. We do not want this part of the arm moving around. As you can see, this part of the arm is going to stay stationary. All I'm doing is moving from the elbow down to the forearm area, the wrist area, and up and down and up and down, trying not to lock out the elbow. So that's today's exercise. Today's financial tip, or maybe a couple of them, is going to be, and this is one that comes up really, really often with people of every age. Do I pay down my debt or do I invest? Now, in theory, you'd like to be able to do both. And the reason you'd like to be able to do both is that if you're not investing on an automatic basis, either into an investment account, into a retirement account, whatever account you might have, if you're not investing in that, you're losing the ability to compound money. Next video, I'm going to go over in more detail what compounding is, examples of how it works, and over long periods of time, that's actually how you become wealthy, is the compounding of your money. So the sooner that you start with investing, the better off you're going to be, because you have more time for your money to compound. And I'll also talk again about that rule of 72, which tells you basically at what interest rate, how long it's going to take to double your money. So investing is super important. Paying down debt is also super important. I'm not sure that I can give you an exact answer because each person's scenario is going to be different. if you are carrying credit card debt, multiple cards, even one card, and that credit card, and you're rolling those balances from month to month to month and never paying those credit cards off, and you're paying, say, credit cards now, 16 to 20% interest, maybe even higher. If your credit score is a little bit in the lower category, if you pay the minimum, and everybody knows this, if you pay the minimum or even more than the minimum, you're never going to pay those credit cards off. You're never going to eat into that principal balance that you owe on those credit cards. You're just going to keep paying off the interest, paying off the interest. So that's obviously a terrible situation to be in. So if you're in that situation, I would highly recommend that most of your capital that you have available go to, as quickly as possible, paying down that credit card debt. If you have debt that is low, I'm thinking mortgages that were taken out prior to inflation. If you have debt that's in the 1, 2, 3% category, that could be on auto loans, that could be on mortgages. That's almost like somebody's loaning you free money because of that low interest rate. I would not go and pay that particular debt off, because you, in all likelihood, can earn a greater return of interest probably in the stock market over a long period of time. So everybody's situation is different. Really, really high debt, you got to try to pay it off as quickly as you can. Really, really low debt levels, try to pay that off as it comes due, but you got to be able to invest as well. Earlier investing is going to lead to longer returns later down the road. And the reason I say that is, again, the stock market returns on average over a long period of time, 9%, 10%, depending on what decades you pick, that's going to be about the return. There's some decades where it's returned much less and some decades much more. But if you even that all out, it's going to be 9 to 10%. And there's really nowhere, like we talked about last week, keeping your money under the mattress. You're losing your purchasing power to inflation. Even if inflation comes down, which it's going to eventually, under your mattress, you're losing money. Money market funds, CDs, bonds, you're probably at this juncture keeping pace with inflation, but you're certainly not making any money, just because if you're getting 5% in a money market fund and inflation comes down to 5%, and it is, like I said, it is coming down, so we are getting closer to that equity situation, but you're still not making the money. Now, if you're consistently getting, a 9%, 10% return on your money, now you're outpacing inflation. So I think it's super important that you, like I've always said, automate your investing so that you can get it taken out of your check before you even see it. That's the only way to do it. There are some of us that are super diligent that can look at our check, deposit it in our checking account, and send a check away to our investment advisory service or bank or whatever we're using. But those people are few and far between. Take the human element out of it, automate it, and you'll be better off for it. That's a wrap for today. Next week, we're going to cover the last tricep exercise, which I'm not sure which one I want to introduce for that third exercise, but it's going to be one that's going to work probably the large back portion of the tricep. And again, some of you are going to be concerned with building muscle. Some of you are going to be concerned with just shaping, defining, and having more aesthetically appealing looking arms, and that's fine too. I can tell you, and I know this personally, is that if you have an arm, if you take two separate people's arms in general, tricep, bicep, and one that has worked out and one that has not worked out, the one that is more toned is going to look, believe it or not, is going to look bigger than the arm that has not worked out. And that's just the way that visuals work. It's kind of like an optical illusion, and we can talk about that a little more down in maybe future episodes. But for now, that's the tip, and appreciate everybody for viewing. If you like, please hit the subscribe button or the like button. And again, we'll be back next week with our third tricep exercise. Everybody have a good day.